this girl suddenly grows up from a normal human being. Actually, due to an alien spaceship attack, this girl grows up and follows her husband. At the beginning of the story, we see Nancy, who is being told by her car. Nancy calls her husband Harry, but Harry was not in his office. Actually, Harry works in Nancy's date company. And Harry was already in love with another girl, Honey, because of which Nancy is very worried. And Nancy has to go to a psychiatric clinic. Here Nancy tells Dora, my naughty husband said that I will leave Honey, but every night my man goes to her. And anyway, he is interested in my father's money, not me. And Nancy leaves from here. After this, Nancy comes to Honey's house looking for her husband and starts screaming loudly. Then a man tells Nancy that Harry is not here. And Nancy leaves from here in sadness. After this, we see Harry, who is having fun with her in Honey's house. And here we know that Harry wants to get his wife out of the way. And he wants to have fun with Honey with his father's money. Here Nancy was going to her house. Then suddenly an alien spaceship comes in front of Nancy on the way. Nancy sees the spaceship and tries to run away from here. Then a light from the spaceship falls directly on Nancy. But on the spot, Nancy runs away from here. After this, Nancy again comes to Honey's house and starts calling Harry. Then two sheriffs come here. Then Nancy tells them that I have seen a very big alien spaceship on the highway. After this, a sheriff goes to Harry and says that your wife has seen an alien spaceship. After this, the sheriff takes Nancy to the place where that spaceship was seen. But no spaceship was visible here. And then Nancy's dead Bob comes here. After this, Bob takes Nancy and leaves from here. And tells Nancy that don't insult me in front of people by saying such nonsense. Then Nancy says that I really saw an alien spaceship. But Bob doesn't listen to Nancy. After this, Nancy meets Harry at night. And Nancy tells Harry about the alien spaceship. And Harry believes Nancy. Then Nancy says that you don't have to worry about me anyway, because you warm Honey's bed. So Harry says that I will never meet Honey. The next day, Nancy meets her Dr. Dora and tells Dora that I saw an alien spaceship on the highway. But no one will believe me. So Dora says that I trust you. After this, when Nancy was taking a bath, Harry comes to Nancy. So Nancy tells Harry that I have to gather evidence somehow, so that I can prove to people that I have seen an alien spaceship. So we will go to the same place where I saw the alien spaceship. After this, they leave with their car and reach the same place where Nancy saw the alien spaceship in the evening. For a while, Nancy can't see anything here. But then suddenly the same spaceship comes here. And Nancy is very happy to see the spaceship and goes under the spaceship. Then light falls on Nancy from the spaceship. Harry tries to save Nancy, but Nancy teleports inside the spaceship. And seeing this, Harry runs away from here. After this, we see Honey, who hears some sounds from her roof. And Honey comes to the roof with an axe. Here Honey meets Nancy. Honey asks Nancy that how did you come here? So Nancy points to the sky and becomes unconscious. After a while, Nancy is brought home. And Dr. Dora tells that Nancy is absolutely fine. Then Nancy comes here and says that I am not mad. All of you have to believe me. But here Harry and Bob start talking about Nancy's mother, because of which Nancy gets very angry. And suddenly Nancy's clothes start tearing. And Nancy grows up from a normal person. The next day, Harry brings a doctor named Victor so that he can check up Nancy. After this, Dora takes Victor to Nancy. Here Dora tells Victor that Nancy's shape has increased. But this is absolutely normal. After this, Victor asks Nancy to come to his lab, so that we can keep a good eye on you. But Nancy refuses Victor. After this, at night his dad comes to meet Nancy and says that you should go inside and rest. So Nancy says that I am absolutely fine. I am just resting by looking at the sky. After this, Nancy says that can you make me like before? So Bob says that the doctor is working on the same thing. After this, Nancy starts bathing in the swimming pool. That's when Harry comes to Nancy and asks, "Are you okay?" So Nancy says that I am absolutely fine. Just my heart starts beating fast sometimes. After this, when Harry starts leaving from here. So Nancy invites Harry for dinner tomorrow. And Harry agrees. The next day, Dora comes to meet Nancy. So Nancy tells Dora that tonight I have called Harry for dinner. I wish I was like before. Hearing this, Dora feels good. After this, Victor calls Dora and Nancy outside. And we see that Victor had a very big injection in his hand. After this, Nancy comes out and asks Victor about the injection. So Victor tells that there are some vitamins and minerals in it. That's when Dora says that Nancy doesn't need it. So Victor says that I have the permission of Nancy's husband. And your father too. So Nancy says, "What about my permission?" And Nancy snatches the injection and starts scaring Victor. After this, Nancy throws the injection and leaves from here. After this, Harry comes to Nancy at night. And they both start having dinner. Here, Nancy asks Harry, "When was the last time we had such a dinner?" So Harry says, "We have had such a dinner many times alone." Next, Nancy asks Harry, "Have you heard about Gulliver's Journey?" So Harry says, "I had read his book." So Nancy says that I have started thinking of myself as Gulliver. And now everyone starts making me eat small toys. And Nancy talks a lot. That's when Harry says, "You have gone mad. And anyway, you are a big mistake." Hearing this, Nancy gets very angry. And Nancy picks up the car and throws it. After this, Harry says that honey is better than you in appearance and on the bed too. And they both start fighting. Because of which Nancy gets very angry. And that's when Nancy falls unconscious. After this, we see Bob, who is busy on his project. And he was not at all worried about Nancy. Here, Harry was having fun with Honey. And Honey was waiting for Harry. After a while, Nancy comes to her senses. And Nancy comes to the city looking for Harry. That's when Nancy meets Dora and Sheriff. Nancy asks them where Harry is. So Dora tells Nancy not to go to the city. But Nancy leaves from here and goes straight to Honey's house. After this, Honey picks up the gun. But Nancy breaks the roof and throws the gun. Seeing this, Harry starts running away. But Nancy picks up the car and takes Harry out. And starts running away with Harry. After going a little further, electric wires come in front of Nancy. Because of which Nancy stops. And that's when Sheriff and Bob come to Nancy. Bob tells Nancy to stop all this. Because anyway, you have insulted me a lot. So Nancy says that you never cared about me. You only love your money. Hearing this, Bob tells Sheriff to fire. And as soon as Sheriff gives the order, everyone starts attacking Nancy. Because of which Nancy falls on the electric wire. And she gets a shock. But suddenly, the same alien spaceship comes here. And teleports Nancy and Harry inside. Everyone is surprised to see this. And the spaceship leaves from here. After some time, we see Harry who was kept inside the spaceship like a prisoner. After this, we see Nancy, who had now become a member of the people of the spaceship. Nancy tells Harry that now you will have to stay like this, because now this is our home. And Nancy leaves from here. And this movie ends here.